Welcome to r/malicious compliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter but not the spirit of request. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. The first story: I try not to block in any cars while moving my sons out of their apartment. The second story: manager was fired because he made me and other employees look for a product. The third story: we will have to stop servicing equipment that effectively supports the operation of more than 500 gas wells. And the first story is, move that truck. I'm enjoying my first day off from teaching for the summer. You know, typical things like moving my second oldest son to his new house in Eloy from Queen Creek, both smaller Arizona towns with quite a distance between them. He's currently living in an apartment complex and rented a U-Haul he needs me to drive for him. I go to switcheroo, then I pull into his complex. I notice my truck isn't running too well all of a sudden, so I make sure I don't block in. I make sure my U-Haul, one of the smaller ones by the way, isn't blocking anybody in and is over enough to allow free-flowing traffic. You know, basic courtesy. I've got to tell you, there's literally no great place to park this thing, so I pulled perpendicular to park cars, only blocking 2 covered parking spots that were empty. There were a smattering of empty spots elsewhere, even including 5 spots that weren't labeled as anyone else's spots or towaway zones, right next to these spots. I figured I'll tell my 2 sons the news that this will be a rush job, and we're loading things first, and preferably only, that won't fit in their compact cars. Okay, no problem, until my son tells me as I'm dollying a dresser to the truck that a lady needs us to move. We're in her spot. I try to explain-agize to her. Ma'am, there's 3 open spots right here. We'll be done in an. She interrupts. That's my effing space. Move that truck. I quit back that there's really nowhere else to move to, and the truck ain't running great anyway. Then she said just let me in my space. Do whatever you want after, I don't give an F, a-hole. Just move that truck. Welp, you want to get froggy with it? Let's get froggy with it. I defasten the ramp as fast, yet as over-exaggeratedly as possible, making eye contact while smiling all the way. My A touched their BMW emblem during this process, as they refused to move back even an inch. I pull down my door, lock it and drive off, sped off, gunned it enough to clunk the engine. I swing a circle around and pull right behind them exactly where I was. I was fuming at being swore at, and this move is the only non-violent one I could think of. Gas is $5.19 where I am, so I turn the truck off, and they can F off, both managing to look like people who've made all the wrong choices for all the right reasons, smelling a patchouli and failed guidance counselor. Not the good one. So I set up shop again, and I swear as soon as my 5-box dolly wheel touches the metal ramp, about an hour later or so, Patchouli Counselor 2 comes out of a burning bush to snark at my pacing. Oh look, who gives an F all of a sudden? I say to him, we'll be out of your hair soon enough. He was clearly livid, responding with, I'm gonna get your stupid effing Texas hick country bumpkin truck towed, you stupid hick. I shook my head, partially to convince myself this isn't worth going to jail over, partially in disbelief that he thinks I'm from Texas because the truck says so on the side. Who doesn't know this? I go get the rest of my haul, not so slowly this time, mainly because this guy may have an emergency, and time to engage the final step of malicious compliance, ignition. Truck won't move. SH, but also, looks like I'm getting this towed anyway. 5 hours later, I get U-Haul's roadside assistance to switch out something in the truck, follow me all the way to Eloy, and even unload our stuff for us. Awesome. I would have hated waiting 5 hours for U-Haul to get something done, but in this situation I thoroughly enjoyed watching those that cursed me and my family have to Uber out of there, while my sons and I bond over takeout. Edit. I want to clarify what I did with my truck. I gunned it knowing full well it was running rough, and that revving the engine on an already struggling half-loaded truck would all but guarantee this baby would flood out. I was hoping it would stall just in time to block them in instead of out. It didn't disappoint. I also wanted to teach my sons that it's okay to stick your ground. I think the OP may have intentionally caused the truck to break down. There's a sentence I don't quite understand, but it could mean they did it intentionally. Drove off, accelerated, shot up so the engine stalled. It sounds like they moved the truck in a way they knew it might not start later. But either way, the malicious compliance succeeded. According to the OP, the best place to park without blocking anyone was to block those 2 empty parking spaces. The OP was not parked in their precious spot that only they could park. The U-Hauls temporarily blocked it. There were other parking spaces nearby that people could use, but they probably wanted to show their importance. I hate it when people think that those who use U-Hauls to move their stuff have fewer rights than those who live there, especially since the one who moves there also lives there. The second story is, you want me to search for non-existent products? Got it. 3 years ago, I was working in a popular local cafe in the middle of a big city. Obviously, there were a lot of customers during rush hours, and of course, the usual Karens. At the time of this story, I was just finishing my training to be fully hired. The manager, Steve, was an utterly obnoxious person who was overall very disturbing. He'd tell us to do something, then change his mind while we were halfway through it. Anyways, he wasn't exactly competent, but we were low on staff and the owner desperately needed a manager. So this one day, I'm just clocking in, and I see my first clients are a bunch of kids, and they're Karen of a mom. Yes, she had the haircut. The following conversation ensued. Karen, what are your muffin flavors? Me, we have naming all the muffin flavors. Karen interrupting me. No, I'll just take one of those special edition muffins. Points to the back of the kitchen, like she's expecting me to make them for her. Me, oh sorry, those are limited edition muffins. We don't have them anymore. Karen rolling her eyes. Yeah, I know, just give me 5 of them. Me a bit louder, thinking she didn't hear me. We don't have those anymore, ma'am. I'm sorry. Karen, just give me them. What's wrong with you? Get me your manager. Now at this point I'm pretty peeved, because this woman is screaming at me at the top of her lungs and gathering all the attention towards her. So I do as she asked and get her the manager. Steve looks mad as soon as I disturb him. He goes to see the Karen and comes back to me. Steve, just give her the muffins now. Me, we don't have any of those muffins left. I already explained that to her. Steve, there are some left, just find them. Me, where are they? I'm pretty positive we don't have any left. Steve, I don't care about your opinion. Just find them already. Ask others to help you find them if you're that dumb. And don't go back to that lady or any other clients until you find those muffins. Me thinking about what he just said. Okay, sir, I'll give her the muffins. Steve, that's better. So I go and try to find them everywhere in the store. Of course, there is none left as the muffins are seasonal items, and since none arrived in stock, there's no special edition muffins left. QMC. Since Steve told me not to go back to that lady or any other clients until I found the muffins, I do exactly that. Since he also told me to ask others for help, I make sure to let every employee know my desperate need for help in finding the muffins. In the end, since no one liked Steve anyways, we all went searching for the muffins. Several hours, clients kept pouring in until one of them dared to ask what we were all doing running around. I calmly explained that our manager sent us searching for something, and we couldn't work until we found it. I insisted that our hands were tied, and we couldn't serve them until our manager said so. Every single client went banging on Steve's door demanding to talk to him. As soon as he opened the door, everyone started yelling at him to let the employees serve them. Visibly confused by so much people in the cafe and in front of him, he shouted my name. I wasn't allowed to stop searching, so I replied by yelling back too. He eventually came in front of me and asked me what the F was going on. The following conversation was priceless. Me, oh, I was just searching for the muffins. Steve looking like he was about to pass out. What? Why? Me, well, you asked me to find them and to get help if needed. You insisted I shouldn't go serve anyone until I find them. Since we never found them, we never got to work again. Steve realizing he just lost hours of profit. Seriously? Go back to work now. Me with a smug look on my face. But we didn't find the muffins yet, sir. Would you like to search with us? Steve went ballistic on me, saying this was insubordination, that I had the IQ of a slug, etc. Meanwhile, the Karen sent multiple complaints to the owner about the manager. At the end of the day, the owner personally came in to announce to Steve he was fired and replaced by one of my coworkers. We never had any other seasonal muffins after that. Haha, at first I thought the story would be about Karen, but I didn't expect it to end with Steve getting fired. Well, Steve failed in his job and didn't solve the problem with the cheeky customer, so he was fired. I'm glad Steve was promoted to the individual task force he so deserved, where he wasn't held back by others on a different intellectual level. Now no one else would be able to screw things up for him. A friend of mine who works at the store told me that he had customers demanding an item that they didn't and never had. I don't even know. They always seem to insist on having them in the back. It's like they're hiding them. The only way to propitiate them is to go for a few minutes pretending to look back, and then come back empty-handed. Turns out, no, they don't have any merchandise that was never in the store, that you remember 30 years ago. That worked very well, and even if they had it, they didn't keep it in storage. The last story is, you have to get this fixed. No, you will have to get it fixed. Okay, this is a secondhand story from a workmate. Happened in the 90s with a major oil and gas provider. We will call this Mob Company X. For the purpose of this story, my workmate will be called Jono. He worked for a contracting company which deals with servicing equipment for said Company X. Like many other industries, Company X contracted out a lot of their jobs to many service providers, many of which mobilized office staff to the major field facilities provided by Company X. Upon winning contacts from Company X service providers, either build office buildings in Company X's land or moved into existing buildings that belong to Company X. This is important to know for later. Back in the 90s, there was a massive push for job safety, industry-safe conditions, and safe work conditions. With the push, new safety staff in Company X were hired, with the mentality of changing the industry with an iron fist. It's our way or forfeit the terms in your contract and get the boot. When these safety guys came in, they started shaking up every nook and cranny. First service provider had their operations shut down for 2 weeks due to a lack of operational guidelines. The second company was told their building was a fire hazard and their chemical storage was a mess. 3 weeks to get it fixed before the service provider could get back up and running. Fast forward to Jono and their provider. At this point, safety was on a roll, making the whole industry safe at the cost of the service provider's sanity and work hours, pretty much throwing their weight for everyone to catch. When it was their 2-week period for a safety audit, the safe auditor had developed a multiple item checklist that they found wrong with other service providers. During the whole 2-week audit, they were hit with pretty much everything wrong workplace, with the building, the chemical storage, and other menial items. So much so the auditor brought in the safety head manager at Company X to talk to Jono and his manager with the sorry state of the workplace. They pretty much said if you don't get it all changed and fixed, you'll lose the contract for unsafe work conditions. Jono was pretty much losing his SH at this point and didn't know where to start, but his manager took his list and read through it, then handed it back to the safety auditor. With a massive grin on his face, he said, "This is a Company X building. We rent off a Company X for facilities in the workplace. Since you started your safety audit 6 months ago, I've been requesting to Company X upper management for an upgrade of facilities, but to no avail, they pushed back. Now that we have to shut down due to unsafe workplace that Company X is unable to provide, we'll have to stop servicing equipment that maintains the operation of over 500 gas wells, effectively shutting down over 50% of all gas production in the area." Note, Company X was and still is a major natural gas provider. If there was a potential risk of losing 50% of all gas production, someone's gonna get the boot. Haha. The safety manager was all deflated and didn't have anything to say. The auditor replied with, "We'll have to come back and research what the conditions of the lease agreement in your contract is before we can continue." In the end, it took Company X 1 month to fix everything in Jono's workplace. They pretty much got away scot-free. There must have been a massive meeting or something because all the auditors prioritized the buildings that belonged to Company X and got their building fixed. More on the lines where a safety auditor wanted contracting service provider to fix the issues, but it wasn't their property to begin with. They pointed the finger at service providers' issues before realizing their own faults and realized their own liabilities. Haha, cool story. Technically we tried to fix it, but the bigwigs said squat. Oh, that you're the one losing money because you don't listen to the batters? Have fun losing money and correcting the mistakes we told you about. But I don't understand why those safety watchdogs are so hostile. Some of them are good, but most of them only seem to get excited when they find some obscure technical detail to throw a fit over. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and have a good day.